All right, welcome in to another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast, an emergency episode. We had to convene to talk about a freaking insane day in the Serie A. All I've got to say is I'm so glad that over the last 3 weeks, we have had on this show multiple Scudetto episodes for Inter. We had multiple Scudetto parties because obviously the party has stopped on a dime, my friends. It kind of reminds me of like back in my college days when you would go to these wild house parties and everyone's having an amazing time. And then all of a sudden the cops show up because the neighbor called in a noise complaint. It's like, bro, I'm still partying. I'm still vibing. I'm not ready to call this a night. And that's essentially what happened today. Antonio Conte is leaving Inter. It's done, dusted, the Conte era. In typical Inter fashion, something incredible happens, 19th Scudetto, and then less than 3 days later, they do something pazza, they do something dramatic. So Conte and Inter have agreed to mutually terminate his contract. They're going to pay him off about half of his remaining wages for the final year of his deal, around 7 million euros. And, the reason why this happened is that we've come to find out over the last 24 hours that Inter need to severely cut costs. According to Sky Italia, they need to reduce their wage bill by 20%, and they need to make 70 to 80 million euros in player sales. And that was a condition that Conte did not agree to. Now, what really kind of upsets me as an Interista about the way that this went down is it looked really clunky. The way that this happened, and it really shows me the communication between Steven Zhang, Inter's president, and Antonio Conte. The communication was clearly terrible. Now, Zhang has been in Italy for the past couple of weeks, and I don't know if he just did a bad job kind of communicating the situation to the directors and to Conte. I'm kind of wondering if, because we've heard reports about what the cost cutting is going to be. We've heard other reports that Conte is not really a fan of it. But, prior to him actually terminating the deal, there were some reports, because I was optimistic he was going to stay. I was very optimistic Conte would stay around for at least one more year, thinking he understood the situation and they were going to reach some kind of common ground. So now I wonder if the last couple of weeks, Conte probably thought, yeah, they said something to me about cost cutting, but it's a bluff. We're going to win a Scudetto, and then they're going to say there's no way we're going to sell, 70, 80 million and cut costs 20% on a team that just won a Scudetto. And then Conte, I'm sure, told Zhang or some intermediary that he's not a fan of that idea. And Zhang probably thought, well, this guy's playing hardball. We went through this last year. You remember when Zhang and Conte and Inter's directors had that big summit at Moratti's villa, and the entire Italian media were saying, oh, this is it. They're going to agree to terms to resign. And then it turned out Conte ended up staying. So Zhang probably thought, hey, this guy talks tough, but at the end of the day, he needs us as much as we need him, and he's not going to walk away. And then the whole thing came to a head within the last 24 hours. And as a result of it, a team that, just officially hoisted the trophy for the Scudetto a couple of days ago is now, for the moment, looking like a rudderless ship, and they're without a coach. It's at this time, it looks like the directors are staying, which is important because if Beppe Marotta also left, then I would go into full crisis mode. So I just wanted to get everybody caught up on the situation before I introduce the panel today and before I introduce my co-host. And we're going to get into some other things. It was a wild day in Serie A because, on a normal day, any of these stories would be the lead story on the Italian papers, if not for what happened with Conte, because Gigio Donnarumma is leaving Milan on a free. He and his fat agent are leaving. You also have Paratici leaving Juventus. We had a little saga with Simone Inzaghi, but he is staying at Lazio. He signed a new extension through 2024. So I guess a little crisis averted there. And that story and the Conte story are not unrelated. So it's been a really eventful day in the Serie A. And I want to bring in my co-host, Jerry Mancini. Jerry, you and I, of course, we've been texting a lot with all this craziness because, there was a time we didn't know what was happening with Inzaghi, who you love so much. The Conte thing ended up completely blowing up in my face. So I don't know what you've been up to over the last day, but how have you been, sir?
I'm good. Yo, Miguel, can you fucking smile, man? You're in the Champions League, you motherfucker. What the
He's
fuck,
calling out the
man?
Milan
I'm
fan.
just listening, man.
He's the one guy who should be smiling here. Well, actually, Jerry can smile as well. Ricky and me, no.
I'm no fucking bitter fan, okay? I don't hate on other people for being better than my team, okay? I actually respect them because they got where they are, and that's it. I hate when fucking people I gotta hear, fucking Simone Inzaghi is overrated because he won 2 Super Copas and fucking Coppa Italia. Who gives a shit? Yeah, I can tell you half the league hasn't won shit in the past decade. Maybe 90% of the league hasn't won in the past decade, so I'll take that. But for me, I'm ecstatic with Inzaghi. I feel bad for Inter. I really do because as a Conte fan, I don't blame him. At the end of the day, I hate when people say he abandoned the ship and he took off. He wasn't given what he needed to make the team grow. He probably asked to sell half his team in order to make up for the debt that they had to cover, the 80 million. Like Nima said, they should have just sold the club in the first place and never got the loan. The loan never really helped. The loan just made things worse for them. So I don't know the whole financial aspects of the whole getting the 200 plus million, and then all of a sudden it was never going to be used to buy additional players. It was just used to cover the cost, which made no fucking sense in the first place because you're bound, you're back to ground day. You were going to have to owe the 240 million back anyways.
Right.
Like all this shit, it's just a clusterfuck that they didn't their own agenda and they screwed the whole team up. Now they're probably saying in that meeting today with Conte, this is what's going to happen. You're going to lose, say, Lautaro Martinez, you're going to lose Lukaku. Let's just say those guys, you get 200 million. All of a sudden, he's like, fuck you guys. What am I doing here? Like, I can't buy players. I'm selling my best players. I have no flexibility. This is not what I want. Now, people are going to say, oh, well, he abandoned ship. He doesn't care. He's a loser. He's this, he's that. No. At the end of the day, he did what he had to. He won a Scudetto. Yeah. He brought them to the European Europa League finals. It's not like he built the team and then said, here, you deal with my debt. It's not like that was ever the issue here. It's the owners screwed up, or the president. They didn't do what they were supposed to help the club. In the long term, they're going to sell it. So they know what the issue is, that they can't get any money because of the whole problem in China, all that crap that's going on. I'm with Conte. If my project can't be going forward, what's the point of me staying?
Right.
Like, I'm going to go to another club where I am able to manage the team the way I want to manage it, not the way the president wants to manage it, where it doesn't fit for my philosophy. Like, that's just the way it is. I don't think there's any intent that Conte ever wanted to screw over Inter. And I think that once they have new ownership, new management above, aside from Beppe Marotta, who would bring back Conte, I guarantee you. I can see Conte reuniting with Inter in the long term if things do fix up and there's new faces up above. But at the moment, until things get cleared up with Inter, he won't be back for a while.
I mean, I definitely, Jerry, I agree with you that I take Conte's side in it. I'm sure that there's probably some blame on both sides for it falling apart. Like, I'm not stupid. I'm sure that because we know Conte is a pretty hard-headed guy. He's not great at compromising, right? Apparently, Steven Zhang is not great at compromising either. But I definitely take Conte's side in the situation. And you talked about people calling Conte a loser. We're in you and I were in a Serie A related chat together, and a lot of people that were in the chat with us, that were calling him a loser because he's a nomad, he goes from club to club. The thing is, like, I don't think you'd be hard pressed to find an Inter fan who is taking Suning's side over Conte, because to me it's on ownership. When you have something like winning a Scudetto, which does come with glory, it comes with financial perks, it should come with momentum, right? Because you want to try and carry that momentum over into the next season, and then to completely botch the situation within 3 days, it's a really, really bad look for ownership. So ownership gets more blame for it. As far as what you said, you and our friend Nima were talking about him saying that, hey, like, why did they even get this loan? Why didn't they just sell the club? I'm not a financial expert, but some people I've spoken to have raised a pretty good point about that. With Suning having a lot of debt, it may not have been easy to sell the club outright because whoever you sell it to has to take on that debt. So I think that probably made it less attractive. So their best option might have been to get a loan like the one that they got from Oak Tree, which they do have to pay back. But I'm sure they're counting on, hey, we're going to have, you would think we're going to have fans back in stadiums next year. The revenue is going to go up, although I'm sure there's going to be some fans who are so angry at them, they're going to boycott games and do the whole sooning out thing. I think that's inevitable. But for the most part, people will show up to games and they're going to build some more revenue and they're going to cut costs to build more revenue. So they're thinking we can pay back this loan. And then once the loan is paid back and they're out of debt, then maybe they can actually be more attractive to sell the club. So I think that's what's happening here. But let me introduce the panelists. Jerry asks this guy to smile more, and maybe
Alex,
maybe he's a big Donnarumma fan, and he's a little bit salty today. But one of our favorite Milanisti, Miguel Agyei, is back. Miguel, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. We made it back into the Champions League, so I'm ecstatic. Like, we did it in fine fashion, beating Atalanta 2-0 at Bergamo after the last time we lost 5-0 to them. So it was huge. I expected us to make it in the Champions League. I didn't expect us to place second in Serie A. I expected us to come in fourth. But this team just surprised me, and they gave it their all. So I'm very happy. Yeah,
definitely. It was a big accomplishment, especially in the Atalanta game. I didn't think you guys were going to win it. I thought that was a really good showing. I want to bring in our other guest today. You're gonna have to be my shoulder to cry on, dude. I'm a little, although I'm not nearly as bummed as you might think I am, because at the end of the day, it's fucking sports. Like at the end of the day, I don't have any control over this situation. I live and die with the team. I love Inter. I'm ecstatic when they win. I go a little crazy when they go crazy, which is often, but listen, this doesn't really affect my my line of my line of work, because I talk about it, but it doesn't ruin my life at the end of the day. It does make me a little crazy. I don't know if Ricky Buzz is in the same boat. One of my favorite Interisti. Welcome back to the show, Ricky.
Oh, what up? Thank you for having me. Also, screw Napoli bottle jobs. Could have easily kept Juve out, and then would have been even better, but now we got to deal with this, as well as the Don leaving Real Madrid too. So
yeah. And by the way, man, you bring up the Napoli bottle job, which allowed Juventus to get into Champions League. So much has happened in Serie A over the last 3 days that feels like 100 years ago. I mean, that just happened on Sunday, right? Like it feels like 100 years ago. But Ricky, I gotta ask you. First of all, how did you react when you saw the Conte news? That's question number one. And question number two is, who do you think the replacement's going to be? We know it's not Simone Inzaghi. His name was mentioned, but he's re-signed with Lazio. So how did you react to Conte, and where do you think Inter goes from here?
I actually didn't really think Conte would leave. Or I didn't think it would get to this point of it being this. I thought it would maybe after the Euros, they'd probably try to come to even a bigger compromise. They'd already have the list of players that they need to sell. But yeah, I didn't think he would leave. And when I saw he left, I was like, wow, where do we go from here? Because that's what I asked. I was like, wow, where do we go from here? We literally just won a Scudetto. I was saying we need to go ahead and start getting reinforcements in for next season. And now it just seems like, I don't know. And who are the other replacements lined up? I know Sarri's one of them.
Oh my God, please, that would be terrible. And it's not even like I'm not a huge fan of Sarri to begin with, but he's all wrong for this squad. I mean, I don't think this group can, and assuming most of the same players are back, right? I mean, I'm assuming they're obviously going to sell some players, but I'm assuming it's going to be like 80% the same roster, and it's all wrong for Sarri. And even if they were going to make a lot of sales and rebuild the club, Sarri is like so hands off in like the transfer market. Like I don't even feel like this guy would do a good job of like helping out the club find replacements. Like I think he would be all wrong. And I want to pick Jerry and Miguel's brain on this as well, because I mean obviously, Jerry's very happy we can cross Inzaghi off the list, and apparently like one of the interesting rumors about it was, So as the story goes from these news reports, Inter did make Inzaghi some kind of an offer, and he actually took that offer with him to his meeting with Lotito. And smart move, by the way. I mean, I recommend anyone do this. He used the offer as leverage and may have gotten more money out of tight pockets Lotito as a result. So good on Inzaghi if that story is true. There are going to be, and I'm not. I'll tell you why I'm not very confident, but there obviously. You're going to have the name Max Allegri thrown out there, who was, he was a candidate, last year when we thought Conte might leave. There's a couple major obstacles with Allegri is, he's being courted by Real Madrid, and his agent even visited Madrid, I think this past week. He might even be in Madrid right now for all I know. We know that Zidane is leaving Madrid. That's confirmed. So they have an opening. And if they do really want Allegri, they're going to be aggressive with that. Juventus are also in the picture for Allegri because they want Allegri back. And so, at worst, Inter are competing with two other teams. And so there also could be, based on the cost-cutting thing, there could be limits on what they can spend. I saw a report from Gazzetta dello Sport that supposedly Inter have made him, Allegri, a 10 million euro offer, which seems kind of crazy to me. And, usually I would dismiss Gazzetta pretty quickly, but they were actually the first to report that Conte was leaving. So I don't know, maybe they actually know things. I don't know. But beyond that, you've had the Fonseca's name thrown out, which is like, no, thank you. I don't think he would fit the squad either. And Mihailovic, who I just don't think is ready. It's just too big of a job for him, in my opinion. So I don't know. I mean, Jerry, where do you think Inter go next?
Mihailovic?
God, no, please.
It's possible, eh?
I'll become a Lazio fan, man, or I'll freaking I will renounce all calcio. I'll just become I'll become a monk.
I think Inzaghi is very smart because he brought that as leverage, and I don't think he ever intended to leave Lazio for Inter because I don't think he's that stupid. You think he would take on an Inter side at a time where they're at their lowest peak now, where they don't have a lot of leverage, a lot of their best players are going to leave. It's not like he'll be taking on a dominant Inter side. That's the problem here, is that he knew that there was no flexibility. He wasn't going to be able to do anything in the transfer market. Yeah, it's a much better team than Lazio, but up to a certain degree where once you lose 2 or 3 good players, they're back to like still a little bit better than Lazio, absolutely, but not greater than what they were last year. So yeah. I think that Inzaghi goes, okay, I got this offer. I'll use this leverage, and I'll show him what I'm worth by Inter. And then Lotito doesn't like to lose. And as soon as Lotito found out about the offer, that's when everyone was reporting that he is ready to make an offer to Lazio's Inzaghi. And right away, they struck a deal.
Yep.
And I think that, like I said off air before, Lotito will always vouch for his best managers, management, and players. He did it with Immobile in the last 2 seasons. He's done it with Milinkovic-Savic. He did it with Alberto. He even did with Correa. And then all of a sudden he does it with what do you call it? With Inzaghi. So this is just the way Lotito is. Yes, the depth has been garbage on this team. Absolutely agree. But that's out of his control, in my opinion. That goes on Tade. And I hate when people blame Inzaghi for bringing certain players. Yeah, okay, maybe he wanted Fades last summer. But at the end of the day, that all basically goes on the sporting director. That's his job. His job is to say, okay, Inzaghi wants these guys. I need to bring him those guys. He's not bringing the guys that Inzaghi wants. He's going out to get his Albanian crew, and no disrespect to Albania, but like none of them have panned out for Lazio other than Strakosha. He's the only guy who's actually been the Albanian hero to this team. Murici stinks. Berisha, it's not his fault. It just didn't work out. I think Leon Berisha is an exception for me because I think he's better than what we saw at Lazio. But it happens. So I'm happy. I just think that Inzaghi has more to prove with this team, and he's not done. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he extended his contract one more time. I really don't. I wouldn't. Just his press conference on Sunday, and the way people were describing his emotions and how he was about to tear as if he thought that he was leaving Lazio. Like, he's devoted to this club. In order for him to leave Lazio, it has to be something that really is committed to him and like something that wows him. And the last thing is, I think that for Inzaghi to accept this job, it's not just the pay increase that comes with it that has already been known.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something behind the project now where Latito may be saying, okay, guys, it's time to get this club to another level and it's time to invest. And maybe the way he smiled when he left the meeting, and there's videos where he has a smile on. And for me, it's like maybe Latito's ready to actually make this team better. And it gives me some hope. For Inzaghi to act really quickly, to make a quick decision, has to mean to me that not only, like I just said, that the pay increase 2.5 million, there's something that there's assurances to Inzaghi to say, hey, this is what we need to do to make Inzaghi's job more easier. And I think that he delivered his case the right way. The guy who I think is on the hot seat is Tade. He's the guy now on the hot seat.
Should be.
If he doesn't deliver this summer, I think he's fired next year. That's no ifs, ands, and buts. He has 2 years left on his contract, and I wouldn't see why Latito would part ways with him with the year remaining.
You know, in the case of Inzaghi, sometimes the best decision is to stay where you're at. Like, it takes a lot of self-awareness to realize I'm in a perfect spot. I've got an owner that, even though he's kind of a weird, quirky guy, we're able to have a great working relationship. We've made it work. You know, this squad, this roster is good for my tactics, and I'm good where I'm at, right? Because obviously sometimes when you have a coach who's, you know, doing well, excelling at a club the size of Lazio's, you're going to get ambitions to say, you know, let me see what I can do at a quote unquote bigger club. And that's not always a recipe for success, because sometimes you get to that bigger club and it comes with, you know, more pressure. Or in the case of, if you were to have gone to Inter, obviously, like you pointed out, Jerry, this isn't the best time to go to Inter. I mean, the time when Conte went to Inter and the project was ready to explode because they had, you know, a lot of money to spend. They had a very ambitious project. That was a great right place, right time. Whereas going to Inter right now is not right place, right time. So I respect Inzaghi staying at Lazio. And it reminds me a little bit of Ciro Immobile, who's realized that the grass is not always greener, that this is the right spot for me. And this club is perfect for what I bring to the table, and I mesh here. Why would I want to go somewhere else and ruin it? So I'm happy for Inzaghi. I mean, as far as the interlinks went, I think that could have it. Obviously, it's not happening now, but I think that would have been a decent hire, at the very least, decent, if not very good, for Inter, because they already have, you know, they have the squad to play a 3-5-2. So I think that would have made a lot of sense, Inzaghi. Whereas, like, I hate the Sarri idea, because I just don't think that the personnel fit his formation. But for Inzaghi, that would have been an automatic fit right there. So it's you know, it's potentially an opportunity loss for Inter, and it's a good move by Lazio to keep him around. You know, before we close out the Inter conversation and move on to a couple of other things, any thought, Miguel? And of course, you're the Milanista, so you're just kind of partying when Ricky and I are in chaos right now. So, do you have any thought though on who you think might take over Inter when it's all said and done?
Honestly, I don't really know. You know, you've had a lot of names thrown out in the mix. Personally, I don't think Allegri would go there, just because Allegri's kind of like Conte. He wants a lot of control with, you know, his team, and he wants the players that'll fit his system to play the type of football that he wants. So I don't think he's going to go there. I mean, Fonseca's out of a job, so maybe he might just take it. You know, Sarri's also out of a job. He might just take the job. Who else is in the mix? Mihailovic, I just don't see him going there. I feel like he'll just stay at Bologna because what he's done at Bologna is pretty good. And I don't think he's ready for that big jump in his career to go to a bigger club. You know, he managed Milan and it didn't really work out. I mean, he did a pretty decent job there, but I don't think he's gonna move. If he does move, it'll probably be to another mid-table team. I've heard something about Stankovic from Red Star, which I think
I would
be a
much
good
I would
fit.
much prefer him over Mihailovic.
Right.
Stankovic, he wouldn't be my first choice, but I wouldn't complain about that too much. It's a good shout.
What
Right.
about Conciel?
I think
I'd like
Yeah,
him too.
I think personally he's like the best fit for the situation at hand right now. If he's willing to leave Red Star and come to Inter and try to steer the ship with the turmoil that's going on, I think that's their best option to go with right now. But it's a very unfortunate situation for Inter to be in right now. I mean, Inter's rival club, but you hate to see this. The only club that I would like this to happen to is Juve, which didn't happen because
That's why we
they
like
made it
you.
to Champions League. But yeah, this is terrible, and hopefully things pan out well, and Inter comes back and is up there with us trying to fight for a Scudetto.
Very well said by you, by the way. Jerry, you got something?
I think it'll be now that I think about it, it'll be someone who has ties to Inter. Someone like an Inzaghi who has ties to Lazio, who will not cost a lot of money, but can get maybe like a Spalletti level where he can bridge the gap and keep them still afloat.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's going to come down to. It will be like an Inter brass. It's going to be a surprise name. Don't think something that you know of. It's got to be outside the box that you just wouldn't expect. That's what's going to happen here.
I would say, would you try and go back for your ex? Maybe try and go for like Gasparini or someone already established within the league.
I'd kill myself if they brought back Gasparini. I would.
That'll never happen. Didn't he leave on bad terms?
Yeah, no, it was a disaster, and he hates Inter. Like I don't think. I would not let him. Listen, Ricky, I appreciate you throwing out names, my friend, but I might have to
some
boot you. I might have to boot you.
Montella,
kick you out of the chat if you bring up Gasparini again.
Bring Montella. You guys can have Montella.
That's a terrible signing.
I think I'd rather go coachless.
You guys will be in the banter era with the Montella as your coach.
Absolutely. Well, and that's like you throw out that term banter era. It's why like whoever they bring in is so important because it's not necessarily a banter era unless you fuck up this hire. Like if you can bring in a coach who can stabilize the situation, because listen, I know anytime there's any turmoil at Inter, it gets blown into like a full crisis, because Inter fans are as crazy as the club. So, they act like their house is burning down anytime something like this happens. And the Italian media doesn't help the situation either. I mean, the bottom line for me is, Conte is always a wild card. I mean, he was this close to just walking away, 11 months ago, 10 months ago, whenever it was that they had that summit. So you kind of know that this guy could he's done it before at multiple other clubs. Like, things can go south and flake with this guy at any moment. You understand that. So, you have to realize that Conte is not going to be your Sir Alex Ferguson. Like, he's not going to stay around forever. Even if he had stayed one more year, it probably would have just been one more year. So at some point, you have to understand that you're going to have to move on. Obviously, the financial stuff is concerning. It's not completely uncommon, though. In the football world today, there are lots of clubs that have financial issues, including clubs like Juventus and Barcelona. So this is not unique. I mean, I think Inter's situation is slightly unique because of the restrictions that come from the Chinese government as well. It's a little bit harder for them to like hide their problems. And some of the other clubs. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, weren't we also part of the Super League thing as well? Wasn't Inter part of it as well?
Yeah, financial. God, I missed that Super League.
The financial stuff that would have brought as well.
Yeah, is it too late? Can we get back in the Super League? Because I think Juventus, Real Madrid, and Barcelona are still in the Super League. And in fact, like I don't know what's really going to happen at the end of the day because there's a lot of posturing. But like UEFA is threatening to ban those teams from Champions League. So it's like, and again, normally we'd be talking a lot more about UEFA potentially banning Juventus from Champions League. But of course, Inter have to pazza like they always do and just make it all about them, right? You can't even enjoy a Scudetto for 3 days. They have to make it all about them. So, listen, financial issues in this climate are not completely unique to Inter, and Conte leaving should not be the biggest surprise in the world. So, the next hire is so important, and when you talk about needing to make sales, there's a handful of dead weight players you want to get rid of anyway. I think they do need to make a big sale, though, at least one big sale in addition to smaller sales. The guy, it would not surprise me if the guy who ends up getting sold is Lautaro Martinez.
That was going to be my next question. Who do you think gets sold?
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense if it ends up being him, because it's basically pure plus Valenza, and he's pretty sought after. Like, we know the clubs, Spanish clubs and the likes, have been interested over the last couple of years. So he does not seem unmovable to me, and the whole thing is amortized. So you're going to make a big profit. Like, people are going to bring up someone like Achraf Hakimi, and like, okay, if it gets really bad, then maybe you have to sell him. But he would not be your first choice, because they just bought him a year ago for 40 million. Almost none of that is amortized, so you're not making much of a profit if you sell him. So that shouldn't be like, if you have to unload a big name who's going to get you a big transfer fee. To me, the guy who makes the most sense is Lautaro Martinez, and also being a striker, and again, you don't know what formation the next coach is going to run, because if your next coach is not running a 2-striker formation, one of your strikers is more expendable, right? And also, I feel like it's maybe a little bit easier to replace a striker than it would be a right back or a right wing back, and probably easier to replace a striker than it is like a top midfielder. Like they'd have to be crazy to sell someone like Barella unless it gets really, really desperate. But I feel like Lautaro would be easier to replace. You agree with that, Ricky, or is there anybody else you'd throw into that mix?
I had saw like it was just a rumor, a reported rumor, but it was like Bastoni to Man City for 120.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Hey, you know what? If they could get 120 for a center back, it's hard to turn that down. Like that solves all your problems right there. I mean, homegrown player, and I'd hate to see him go, but if they could get 120 for like a 22-year-old center back, then that could solve your problems right there. I'd hate to see him go, but I mean that would be crazy. So I want to move on to the Donnarumma situation. So of course your guy Mino Raiola gets to this, and it's like, it's not completely terrible because of the money that they're demanding. I do think it makes sense to move on from him rather than pay the salary and the agent fees. But the thing that I would be disappointed in, Miguel, is the fact that big picture, this guy is a homegrown player. And if this wasn't, a free transfer, if this was for a transfer for fee, I don't know what would Donnarumma go for in like an actual transfer market, 100 million, 90 million. So just like, it feels like an opportunity missed to have a homegrown player who would have commanded a massive transfer fee to lose him for nothing.
Yeah, that's kind of the downside of this whole entire situation. And it does suck, but you have to look at it this way. Maldini and co. have been trying to do this renewal for quite some time, for at least half of the season. And Mino Raiola is, getting into Gigio Donnarumma's head, which, to some extent, Gigio is a talented keeper. But for a guy who is literally the same age as me and is demanding 10 to 12 million euros as his salary, knowing that the club can't afford that, and that, he's paid pretty well right now. He's on 6.5 and they offered him 8, and that was for a 2-year renewal, not a 5-year. They offered him a 2-year, a 5-year, and then like a 1-year extension. And, he was just being greedy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And, he thought that, Milan won't be able to replace me, so eventually they'll cave in and they'll give me the money. And, Maldini pulled a fast one on him and was like, hey, we put the offer on the table. The offer's been there. We thought that, making Champions League would help you change your mind, but you seem like you don't want to change your mind. So we're going to go ahead and sign another keeper who's quite capable of doing your job and will cost us less. We're essentially saving on about 100 million euros by not extending Donnarumma. The guy who's coming in is on 2.5.
Wow.
Like, that's insane, you know?
Which
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
then you
y'all
have to
couldn't
think about
find the
it like
money.
this. Could you repeat that?
Y'all couldn't find the money from somewhere. Y'all couldn't just sell Hakan Çalhanoğlu and give him his wages to Donnarumma.
See, it's not about that. It's not that we couldn't find the money. The money's there, but it's like you have to look at the situation as this. Milan isn't like an Inter where we have an established team. We have some parts of the team that's missing. We need a striker, we need a winger, we need another midfielder, and we need another defender. Like, Milan has the funds to pay Gigio, but it's like you're being selfish. Like, you're already the top paid player on this team next to Zlatan. And you're a keeper. It's not like you had the most clean sheets in Serie A. You were tied with Handanovic. You've made some silly mistakes here and there. You know, we've given you the captain's armband. And for a guy who, quote unquote, says that he loves Milan and wants to stay here, I feel like as a player, if you really love your club, you'll make a sacrifice and be like, okay, I want to play here. This is my club, like, that I dream to win trophies with. You haven't won anything. You won a Super Copa with us. Like, demanding that amount of money is outrageous, and you haven't even proven yourself, in my opinion. So for a guy who says, I love the club, and kisses the badge and cries after, you know, a massive embarrassing defeat, to not sign the contract and, you know, work with the club, you know, that has brought you to where you are today is just like, it doesn't make any sense. So I don't really feel sorry for him. You know, I'm really happy the way that Maldini handled the situation, because it's like, we're not going to be held hostage by a player who thinks they're better than the club. And I posted this on Twitter the other day. No player at Milan is above Milan.
Yeah, I saw that tweet.
You know,
Great tweet.
we'll find someone else to replace you. If you don't want to be here and you don't want to abide by the terms that the club can provide based on the circumstances, you know, we don't want a repeat of what happened with, you know, Zhang Han Lee when he came in here. Look what happened. We were in so much depth. And like, we've learned from that, and we're in a great spot where, you know, we've made Champions League. We can spend, we can bring in other big names. Milan is starting to look like a more of a attractive club because we're in Champions League. And for a guy to be like, I want 10 million, like, give it to me, or I'm not signing the contract. Like, you can get the hell out of my club.
Yeah, and it's like I don't ever want to hear this guy, and I think he's already doing it, talk about, oh no, guys, it's, you know, it's a business and I love Milan, and like you said, kissing the badge. It's like, dude, like, do you really need to be that filthy stinking rich? Like, you couldn't, if you really love this club, which is, you know, you came through the youth system, it's your boyhood club. Like, if you really love them, like, how much money is enough for you, and how much is enough for your agent? Like, you don't have to be the highest paid keeper in the world if you really love the club. Like, if you need to go be the highest paid keeper in the world, just admit that you're doing it for yourself. Like, don't talk about how, oh, I loved Milan, I'm sorry it didn't work out. Like, no, dude, like, you know, your demand was unreasonable. Like, there's only, you know, 2 or 3 clubs in the world that could pay you the money that you're asking for. So don't pretend it's about Milan. It's about you at the end of the day.
And another thing is that, you know, Milan had made so many accommodations for this guy. Like, they literally signed his brother, who played a couple games for Milan, just so the guy could stay at the club. We've given you the captain's armband, you know, like, what else do you need? And you're claiming that you love the club. Like, do you think Ciro Immobile would ever do this to Lazio? Like, that would never happen for a player who truly loves their club. They would never have this situation go on like this. And, you know, honestly, for him to leave like this, I feel like it tarnishes his image. And, you know, that's on him. Like, creds to him. You know, he's been a great keeper. He's done a lot for Milan. I love him. I respect him. And, you know, I wish him the best wherever he goes, whether it's Barca. I hope he doesn't go to Juve because it'll just make more problems for him. But his time here is done. And, you know, it kind of was his own fault. Like, this wasn't how it had to end. But, you know, when you're greedy, that's how it happens.
Jerry, what do you think about the guy that we call Donnarumma?
I was actually just searching something, and here's the first thing, okay? He's 22 years old. At 22 years old, what do you lack? Maturity. And that's something he doesn't have. A guy like Immobile had to develop that throughout his career, and that's why he's blossomed late in his stages now. Where when he joined Lazio, he was around. It was 4 or 5 years ago. So if he's 31 today, he's probably around 26. He was with Lazio, 27 in his prime. Already had matured, had already gone past two stints where it didn't work out, and understood that I don't leave for greener pastures. It didn't work out. Now with Donnarumma, there's two problems. Milan had given him so much money that he expects that kind of money now. That's an issue now. He wasn't getting paid, I don't think, nearly what he was getting paid before. So to him it's like, oh, I'm being devalued now. And the second part, like I said, his agent doesn't help him either, where his goal is to get commission fees, and he's looking out for his own interests.
Yeah.
So not only did Donnarumma kind of tarnish his own image, his agent did even a worse job and just really killed him. So two birds killed one stone, and that was it. There's so many contributing factors here, and I think the biggest factor is his age. I think at the end of the day, a lot of people forget that this is a guy who I think this is the first time where he's gone into a contract in his career that he feels maybe that he's entitled to more money. I don't even think Champions League is the issue here. I think the main issue is that he wants to be paid for what he thinks
Champions League was the issue. He would stay. I mean, why leave now?
That's not the issue. That's not the issue, man. He wants to be paid.
He told Maldini, he was like, "I do what Raiola tells me to do."
See,
and you know what? I'm so glad you brought that up, Miguel, and Jerry brought that up, dude. Mino Raiola is a fucking slime ball, and the thing is, fans, do not let a player convince you that, oh, I do what my agent tells me. The agent works for the player, not vice versa. Gigio Donnarumma, he is Mino Raiola's boss. He can fire him anytime he wants to. And Raiola has been fired before by players. Mino Raiola was representing Romelu Lukaku before he went to Inter. And, Lukaku wanted to go to Inter. He wanted to play for Conte. And what did Lukaku do? He fired him, and he picked up a different agent who helped him get that transfer through. It's not impossible. People fire agents all the time. Jerry, you were right to bring up his age because, I think part of the problem with Donnarumma is he's so young and he's inexperienced with these business matters that he probably can't stand up to the agent. Okay, so this guy is using you for a meal ticket, and if you've seen Raiola, this guy's not skipping any meals. Okay, so this guy is using you for a meal ticket, and you don't have the balls to stand up for him, to stand up to him, because if you really wanted to stay at Milan and this guy is not allowing you to do it, you fire him and find somebody who will.
Yeah, no, another thing is also Zlatan has the same, agent, Mino Raiola. So in my opinion, as another Milan player who, you have a teammate who has the same agent, you have multiple teammates who have the same agent. Why not, convene with them and be like, hey, how did you get your contract to go through without any issues? If you really wanted to stay at the club, you could have easily talked to Ibra and been like, yo, Ibra, man, I really want to stay here. This is my boyhood club. I want to win a Champions League trophy here. How did you get your contract renewal to go so smoothly without any of these issues? And I think that could have happened. But yeah, like you said, he lacks maturity, and in the end, it bit him in the ass.
Well, don't you think jealousy would have crept in, though? If it's like, hey, yo, Miguel, can you help me, dog? I'm trying to get another $30,000. You're gonna be like, wait, whoa, what? Why are you getting $30,000? I want $30,000. Everybody wants $30,000.
I don't think so. I don't think that would have been the issue because everybody knows how important Donnarumma was to this team. Donnarumma has done his fair share of saving Milan's ass. In the Cagliari game, he made 2 great saves that if we had an average goalkeeper in that goal, we probably would have conceded and lost that game. So I don't think anybody on that team would have questioned him wanting a pay raise because he's been a contributor to the team. He's played multiple seasons. He's been here since he's 16. So he's definitely earned the pay raise. I don't think anybody would be like, you don't really deserve a pay raise. But I just think the way that he went about it wasn't the right way. And in the end, it kind of hurt him and tarnished his image.
Yeah, no, I think well said. So a couple. I want to make sure we cover a couple more things before we wrap it up. I mean, Jerry, any more thought on Lazio with Inzaghi? And even though, like, listen, you guys didn't qualify for Champions League for the second year in a row. It's Europa League for Lazio, but it looks to me, keeping that project together, keeping the core of players together, and keeping Simone Inzaghi, to me, I think is massive for you guys.
No, absolutely. But before I touch on that, Miguel, I looked up Lukaku's age, 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So see what I mean? 26, 27 years old. They're in their prime now. They've experienced 6-7 years of being we went with Everton. He went through Man United. And that's where, like, he kind of grown that past experience with his agent, dealing with 2 different clubs with him, and he saw what happened. And that's just the difference at the end of the day. Like, Donnarumma has to say, hey, I should be firing my manager, but that's not going to happen, and he'll never be a Milanisti ever again if he leaves. Like, that's, well, I guess he is leaving, no? Is it confirmed?
Yeah, it's been confirmed. Maldini said he's leaving. So it's just sad, It's a sad situation for someone, who came through the ranks in the Primavera, made his debut at the club at 16, made 250 appearances, got the captain's armband, and to leave in this fashion because you're not mature enough. It's just sad,
That just shows you the difference here. So here we go. Like you said, Immobile would never. He's committed, and he's taken less money to be with Lazio.
Right.
Simone Inzaghi probably could have got more money elsewhere and decided he committed to Lazio. These are guys who commit to the team and understand the values of what it means to be with the team. A guy like Donnarumma is just a schmuck. That's what he is. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong. But that's not what I'm criticizing. I'm not criticizing his talent. I'm criticizing his character. And his character just defines that he does not give a shit as long as you get paid. And that's something that Maldini does not want on his team. And Maldini is like Inzaghi, okay? You have to compare the two. They both represent what's best for their club because they understand the history of their club. Maldini grew up being a Milanisti. Inzaghi grew up being a Lazio. They die with the club. Donnarumma just doesn't have that in him. It's sad because, like you said, he was born with, like, coming up homegrown, and you would think that he would understand the core roots and all that. But when you have a poison agent that gets into your head and you have a young kid here who just doesn't understand maturity, it doesn't help. Like, that's the end of the day. And it goes both ways, but I think this is really going to ruin his career. I really do. If he goes to Juve, I don't know. I don't know, man. Like,
he's dead if he goes to Juve.
He's a snake if he goes there. I mean, come on.
I don't know, man. Like,
it's Juve and Barca right now because realistically, there's no other team. Yeah, it's Barca. I mean, the one team that I really thought about that could actually use him is Dortmund, but I don't know if, he would go to Germany. Because Dortmund has a shit keeper. That's the only big club that's in the Champions League that he could go to outside of Italy. The Barca situation, they have to get rid of Ter Stegen before they get him in the door. So I don't know what other club is going to take Ter Stegen. And then Munich still has the same thing.
Bayern Munich still has
Neuer.
Oh,
yeah,
they do. Yeah,
I would never replace that guy. That guy there will be good until he's 40. Don't worry.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry, man. I read about that guy.
He's not going anywhere.
He I forgot what he. Oh my god, I read about him and, like, his style and everything. He reinvented the goalkeeper position.
Oh, yeah.
Let's just say that. Like, the guy is a genius. He's the 6th defense or something like that. Like, he's just an extra defense.
He really
Sweeper
is.
keeper.
That's it. That's what it is. He invented the sweeper keeper. That's what he did. And, like, his ability to play as a defense allows his D-men to move up.
It's like having 11 outfield players.
Yeah, it's crazy that he allows them to play a high press game. You take him out, they really adjust their back line. They wouldn't be playing. They'd be playing more as a more low block. But yeah, he's amazing. But as for Lazio, I expect him to be active in the summer transfer market now. Now that Inzaghi's been locked up, I see some moves happening. I saw that Vedat Mariki is possibly going to be on a loan. Hopefully that works out for him and he can be sold. There's a lot of question marks. Parolo, he's done. He's going to be parting ways. Sena Lulic, I heard that he's had offers in Italy and there's some people who want to sign him. He's no longer going to be with the club. Those are two players that are departing. We got a back line that has a lot of holes and needs to be addressed. I think that's the first area that needs to be revamped. And then after that, like I hope they don't really look at the forward position again. I'm happy with Caicedo and Immobile and Correa playing up top. That's fine with me. You got to just address wing back and defense. Those are the two areas that you need to do. And then after that, it's the midfield that you need a backup to Lucas Leiva. But all these are not going to happen in one day.
Right.
That's just inevitable. So if you were to ask me which position do I want the most addressed, it's the back end because that was the biggest issue this season. Defending was always atrocious. I know that you always want to back up to Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, a back up to Leiva, back up to all these guys, but you need to address your biggest weakness. I think if you have a strong defense, that will kind of take away your midfield because it can help them. We'll see what happens. Like I said, signing Inzaghi to me means that they will address the transfer market and do what they'll have to, swap deals or whatever it may be. I just see that Lazio will be active this summer. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. This team needs a lot of work, and I think it starts this summer.
Dude, I love how this freaking Mario joins like 5 minutes before I want to wrap up the fucking episode. Like you're killing me, Smalls. All right, so Mario Gagliano just hopped in. You missed the entire Conte discussion. Now, since I'm a charitable individual, I do want to get your take. And I understand that probably a lot of the people who watch back and listen back to this episode are certainly going to be looking for everybody's opinion on Conte. So, Mario, can you bring us like a little bit of like positive thinking as to who the replacement's going to be? So I'll ask you a two-part question. Your reaction to Conte, and Inter terminating the deal, Conte's moving on, and who do you think is next, man?
I don't know. I want to say that whoever they bring in, they're going to overpay. First and foremost, because you can't.
Which then kind of makes you wonder what it was all for. If they end up overpaying for somebody.
we're trying to cut costs, but you're still going to be paying Conte the $6 million.
Yep.
And then I was reading Allegri for $10 million, so that already you're spending $4 million more than you were before, but you're trying to cut costs. So where does this whole scheme of things go?
Yeah, you end up paying more at the end of the day. It's crazy.
Go for like a Mihailovic. Go for a Zenga. Even pay him €1 million a season. He'll do it for free probably.
I already want to kick you off the episode. Like you've been here for 45. I'm already annoyed with you. Like you're actually advocating for bringing in somebody who's going to put us back in the banter era. Like you realize if we bring in Mihailovic, we're fighting for Conference League. Like we're not fighting for Champions League, Europa League. We're fighting for 7th fucking place if they bring in Mihailovic.
Regardless, if you bring in anybody else, you're gonna have to forfeit more money. You have to cut Lukaku. You're gonna have to cut whoever you don't want to cut. Either way, you're gonna lose. You can't win with this kind of situation. You're not gonna play for the Scudetto anymore. That's already gone. You maybe have a chance at Champions League, depending on who gets sold at the end of the day, because you can't maintain the fight unless you bring someone with a completely new train of thought who can get the players on board fighting for something in a completely new direction, a new way of thinking. But I don't know. It's going to take a lot, and I have no faith in a successful season for next season.
I want to piggyback on that. Actually, I want to. So if Inzaghi was the lead candidate, this is what you have to look at. Inter's manager is worth 2.5 million. The next guy, because if Inzaghi made 2.5 million, that's the threshold for Inter right now.
But he's not going to be making 2.5 million. He's going to be looking for 4, 5.
But I'm saying if Inzaghi was offered something within that range, because that's what he got with Lazio, I think that's what the goal is going to be for any Inter manager coming in. No more than 3 million. That's the bar, and they won't accept it, I think. Yeah,
if I'm the management, you have to look for a manager in that area. You have to go for the Inzaghi. You have to. If you're cutting costs, the manager's the first place you have to look to. You're already paying 6 million.
I was going to say, what about Ralph Ragnick, the guy who was supposed to take over Milan before Pioli?
He's going to be wanting top dollar too.
Yeah.
And he's going to want to take over everything.
Yeah, he's a psycho, that guy. And what reason do I have to believe like he's really suited for Serie A? Like I thought Milan dodged a bullet not bringing in that guy. It's like they sit down with that dude for a meeting. It's like, oh yeah, Ralph, we love this Ralph Ragnick. Oh, now I need to revolutionize everything. I need to sell everybody. I'm going to bring in all new players. I have to have full control. Like they came out of that meeting like, who the fuck is this guy? Like this guy's crazy. Dude, it's like sitting down to a meeting with a crazy person.
But in this kind of case, it's not completely crazy because you need an overhaul. You need to make money somewhere to cut the cost. Maybe he has 15, 16 under budget guys you can bring in the next couple of years that you're going to get to. You take the hit this year, and then next year you do the Juve. You take the hit this year, and next year, the year after, you'll be hitting the ground running, and you have a project. It's not completely crazy, but I just not for me.
Would you? Okay, here's a question for all you guys. Mm-hmm. If you know you can get 80 million for either Lukaku or Martinez, that covers everything with one player sale. So that kind of helps you because you don't have to sell everybody. Who would you sell of the two? And I'll tell you right now,
Martinez.
Martinez. Okay.
Lukaku is way too important. Like that guy. He should be unsellable. Now, obviously, there's some factors there because like. Teams are going to smell blood in the water. Like a team like Chelsea is going to go heavy to try to bid for him.
He might want to return to Chelsea after this. I think he might.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like Chelsea, I think they're going to try and bid top dollar. So it really comes down to what Lukaku wants to do at the end of the day. Because if he wants to move and they are paying for him, then it's hard to say no if he wants to go. And then also, like, who knows what happens with Conte? Like, maybe Conte takes a year off completely, or maybe he goes and he's not going to go to an Italian club right away because part of his severance agreement was he can't coach another Italian club for at least a year. So, like, he's not going to Juve or anything like that. So unless he sits a year out, he's going to have to coach like abroad, in another country. And then who knows? Like, maybe he does a full court press for Lukaku at his next club. So I don't know. But if I have the choice, I sell Lautaro, not Lukaku, 7 days and twice on Sunday.
I throw in Sensi too. Take him.
What a dumpster fire.
120 for Bastoni though.
Hold on, what a dumpster fire this is then. Because you got Timo Werner you spent 70 million for. Fucking waste right now. Mm-hmm. He's your number 9. Then you got Lukaku's going to cost another 100 million, say.
Yeah, but
another number 9. But it's not the point, though, man. Like, you can't – Chelsea could be spending money, but it will catch up to them in the long term. It always catches up even to the big clubs. And that's a lot of money to be spending when you're going to have 3 or 4 strikers and one of those guys that you're spending is going to be sitting on the bench.
Well, they probably try if they wanted to get Lukaku, they'd probably try something cheeky where they're like, oh, hey, we'll give you Timo Werner in a swap and we'll put like a 70, 80 million valuation on him or something. And it's like
Havertz. Havertz, another one. I was going to say that too.
In a swap.
Havertz, 100 million, and another guy that he's supposed to be your other number 9 playing up top with Werner, and they both been shitting the bed Fucking, and you got Tammy Abraham they want to get rid of. That guy's going to be a stud. They're so stupid to get rid of that guy. They spent all this money and they had Tammy Abraham on the fucking bench all year. Bunch of idiots, man. That's all I can say. Fucking stupid, man. That's why I sometimes spending money is the dumbest thing, man.
But Giroud was their best striker.
Probably
now
was.
he's going to Milan.
No, you're
probably.
right. No, you're absolutely right. I agree with you. He's been their best striker this year and not used enough. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
I feel bad for that guy because
anytime.
But I've never seen a player who can play in 10 minutes and score a goal like he does.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Literally.
And Miguel said that too offline. And I agree with him. Like, I wrote a piece like twice about him. And like, this guy is like amazing. And off the record, I know this is off topic and Jorge's watching. I want to give a shout out to Leo for winning the Ligue 1 championship, guys.
Shout out to Jorge as well. What a good dude.
Fucking buddy, anybody who's watched Ligue 1, Leo has been amazing this year. Whoever signs their manager, that's a guy who you want on your team. He's going to
Nice.
He's going to Nice, and he'll turn Nice around.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Nice. If he's going to Nice, that means they have an owner that is committed to a project that wants to make that team like winning now. So that's really good. That guy has been manager of the year 3 times. And Miguel, you're getting a good goalkeeper. Mike Magnon. I saw some
bro, his footwork is ridiculous.
Very good. Very good. And people, I know that Leo had really good defense, and they say that I'm not gonna mention the person because I have respect for him, but they say that he hasn't been tested in Ligue 1. Don't worry, man. Like, he has been tested and he's been good in the past couple of seasons. I hate when I hear that Nice had a good defense and
how many shots did he face this year?
Who? Magnon? That's a good question.
He had 24 clean sheets.
24 clean sheets.
That's massive. That's impressive.
You can attribute all that to the defense, but who does the defense get direction from at the end of the day?
Yeah, goalie.
It comes from the keeper. That's why I'm a big advocate of Handanovic. As bad as he may have been at times, but he keeps the defense in line. The defense respects him and what he has to offer for them. Because if they don't know what's behind them, around them, Handanovic, with no fans, directs the traffic. People forget that.
So, another question, guys. I know Alex probably wants to go, but do PSG fire Pochettino already? Like, do you? I know it's a quick turnaround, and I like to see Jorge's answer on this one because he's watched Ligue 1 more than I have. But to not be successful in Champions League and at least make it to the, I think did they make it? Yeah, they made the semifinals, right?
Semifinals.
Yeah, but still, finals was the goal. They didn't make it. You didn't win the league, and I don't think they won the League Cup. I may be wrong about that. I think they did won the cup.
They won the League Cup.
Yeah, okay. But still, the season just seems like a big failure, and like, I don't know. There's nothing really PSG celebrating about.
I don't think they.
Okay. There's his answer. Okay.
That's a win.
I don't think that they. I don't think that they, sever ties with him because if you think about it, they lost Ligue 1 by 1 point. Mm-hmm. They made it to the semifinals after making it to the finals last year, which is close enough, and I don't think it was Pochettino's fault for, the things that happened on the field. I feel like they need a couple players to get out the club and get some, fresh players in. And I think if he can use what he's already done and build on with that, they can get to where they want to be next year.
Yeah, I was just curious. I don't want to chew my words and be wrong. That's why I wanted Jorge's output there. Like, just because he knows Ligue 1 better, and I know that PSG is owned by a bunch of fucking crooks. But yeah, that's good to know. I rate Pochettino highly. I think he's a good manager. Just that he's just one of those guys who will never be recognized because he's won 2 trophies actually. So That's something that means a lot to him. Yeah. So I guess you could look at that now, but yeah, I just wasn't sure. You know, it's nice to see new winners in every league except.
If you look at look at
Bundesliga.
Real today in Europa League, they win their first ever freaking trophy. I mean, that was fantastic.
Did you guys watch the game?
I watched most of the first half, and then I had to work.
I forgot that Europa League was playing today.
It is weird. Like you don't think about
Massive
Wednesday Europa League, right?
I was watching baseball.
Oh, I can't. Whatever. The
You wanna
game
fall
to
asleep?
watch, other than Champions League. Kesha got me out. What the heck?
Well, he got the old internet wasn't. He had Mario's internet. He was on Mario's Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
He was using my phone. I gave it to him. Didn't work out.
the promotion game on Saturday, I'm looking forward to for the championship. Brentford versus
Swansea.
Swansea. Yeah.
Who should I bet on in
I
that
think
game?
Swansea
I've had a
takes
bad
it, man.
luck.
Those are exciting games
Brentford.
to watch because you got to go all out to get promoted. Like $100 million at stake too. It makes me sick, man. $100 million at stake for that game. Whoever wins.
There was actually an important playoff game today, which goes under the radar. Palermo Avellino.
What was that from Serie A?
Avellino won because they tied on aggregate 1-1. They won today 1-0 Avellino. And they went through because they were the higher seed in the league. Or like they finished higher in the table. So just remember that. In case you ever get relegated.
Those are the rules. Like my buddy Joe from Forza Napoli podcast was telling me about how it's kind of different how they do the standings after the aggregate. And even Serie B is the same way too. If they tie after 2 legs, they don't go into extra time. It's whoever was higher in the standings.
It's a different way to look at it. Palermo had to win and they didn't win. It freaking sucks.
So they stay in Serie C?
Yep.
Holy fuck, that team's buried just like Monza's buried. I remember when everybody thought Monza was going to be the next fucking hit, man.
Nope.
Berlusconi comes in and we got freaking the new freaking UK Empire coming in.
Hey, they came close to getting promoted from Serie B to Serie A, though.
Close means shit to me. You're still at the bottom of the barrel, man.
Doesn't mean anything.
Sorry, man. I don't give a fuck. Close, you know what? I'll accept close when you're in Serie A. That's fine because you're playing with good teams. But when you're investing heavily against some of the shit teams in Serie B, close is not a close is no cigar. Balotelli, Boateng, and you're playing against scrubs.
And there's like another one that they have. Mastur, I think.
That's just my opinion. If you're gonna invest $60 million into a club, say in Serie B, compared to all those teams, you gotta win, man. There's just no way. And shout out to Claudio Tito getting Salernitana back up, man, because he saved that club too as well. They had a debt of $80 million, I think, and he took over them when they were in a financial crisis.
Can he own both teams or be?
No, he can't. He can't.
So what's going to happen?
That? That's the stupid thing. What's the fucking point of buying another club? That's why I have respect for him though, because he saved Lazio and he saved another club. And people say he's cheap, but he spent money to save clubs.
He has to be cheap.
When you're taking on debt, he's still paying the debt off.
Yeah.
And people are saying, "Oh, it's only $8 million a year. That's nothing that ties into your selling, into your buying." Sure, it does. It's extra. It's extra money that comes out of your pocket. You got to like cover. Like it's so.
He's not like an oil guru, or he's not with like a group of investors. It's just him. So
it's impressive.
It's not easy.
I hope they get a fucking sponsor this summer and they can use it.
They need new investors.
Yeah, it's possible. Who's in the finals, guys? At Serie B. I can tell Alex is watching Florida versus Tampa.
You know me so well, yeah. I got hockey to watch, bro. We're down 2-0.
Why aren't you watching the Rays?
I told you, team shit as the Oilers, man. Fucking garbage team. Fucking garbage Oilers. God damn it.
Why aren't you watching the Rays? There's a good game on.
You think I want to watch the fucking Rays, dude?
I was watching them. Yo, they're good.
Yeah, dude, I'm not a Tampa fan. Like I live in Florida, but I'm not a fucking Tampa fan. I'm a Marlins fan.
What about Miguel? Miguel, you watch baseball? No, you don't look like a fucking.
No, I'm actually watching New York versus Atlanta right now.
Oh, basketball, yeah.
Basketball, yeah. You know what? Basketball's fast paced.
I can't watch basketball.
New York's up by 2, 93-92, 95-91 now.
All right. Well, listen, I got hockey to watch, and I have
Fuck the Knicks.
dude. I've got liquor to drink to drown my sorrows after this really shit day for Inter. I want to throw out he lost his internet, but I want to throw out a shout to Ricky Buzz for joining us. You guys should check out his YouTube channel, Ricky Buzz. He does a really good job talking calcio, doing match recaps. He'll be doing mid-table match recaps next year with the way things are going for Inter. Shout out. A little late and $1 short, but
hey, is Inter going to have a team next year?
They're going to be playing for Promozione with Palermo.
Yeah, we're gonna have to focus on the women's team if they don't fold the women's team, or the Primavera team if they don't like, maybe they'll just sell the Primavera team to make some money.
Fucked. Hold on, that's fucked, man, guys. You got Sunday morning, and they're celebrating a fucking Scudetto championship.
Oh, I know, and you can't take that away from me. Like and Jerry, you're totally right. You know that
I still be celebrating.
Oh no, for sure. And Jerry, like, me, I'm not one of these freaking lunatic Twitter people that are like, obviously I'm concerned and I'm following the situation constantly, but I'm not one of these people who are like, oh, this ruins everything and now I can't be happy. It's like, dude, at the end of the day, I still want to fucking as if I played or something, but the team that I support still won a fucking Scudetto a few days ago. No matter what the chaos that's happening right now, you can't take that away from me. So I want to throw a shout to our boy, the Ericsson FC president as well, Mario. Anything you want to promote, man? You do great stuff, of course, with our buddies at Inter Worldwide.
Check us out on Inter Worldwide whenever I'm on. They got a bunch of stuff coming out. Anthony's got his final words that are always cool. Otherwise, I'm just kind of here and there with Serpents of Madonnina. But I don't know. Writing's just not a thing no more.
Oh yeah, Alex, we gotta do fucking awards. You're not writing anymore?
I just don't do it as much.
Hey man, whatever works for everybody.
I don't know. I'm like on and off with it. It's a love-hate thing with me.
Wow.
Yeah. Are we doing an awards show? Fuck, everybody's doing an award show.
We can do an award show, but like on a day like today, I don't think anybody.
Fucking way, man.
No, for sure. Like I'm saying, like on a day like today, nobody wants to fucking hear us say, "Well, here's the most improved player of the year," and
this 5 minutes. Let's do it real quick. Most improved Ericsson. Keeper of the year Ericsson. Midfielder of the year Ericsson. Striker of the year Ericsson. Signing of the year Ericsson. There you go.
Freaking of the year Ericsson.
Oh, Ericsson's going to be – you know what? Never mind. That's the first guy who's going to be sold. It's Ericsson, actually, now I think about it. He'll be gone first, maybe.
Probably.
You need to backtrack a little bit because he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
If anyone's going, they'll sell.
Depends on the coach, too.
Yeah, man. Don't think what you think. If Suning thinks he can make $300 million on fucking selling these goddamn fuckers, he doesn't give a fuck. He wants money in his pocket. He's got to fucking worry about his own children. Don't worry.
Ericsson's worth more than the team.
Bro, you know what's coming This is what's gonna happen, okay? You're gonna sell fucking Lukaku. And you're gonna hold on. You're gonna sell Lukaku first. Hold on, Miguel. Listen to this. You're gonna sell Lukaku, and then they're gonna sell Pinamonti for pocket change. And then with that pocket change, they're gonna buy Vidal.
They're gonna buy him back.
They're gonna buy Vidamariki.
Chooch of the week, Jerry Mancini.
Chooch of the season.
Oh, Chooch of the decade. Jesus Christ. All right. Well, 3 minutes ago, I was just telling you guys about how I'm not letting this whole thing bother me. Now it's fucking bothering me. Huge thanks to Miguel Agyei, who does awesome work covering Milan, and we love having Miguel on. Miguel, anything you want to promote? They can see your Twitter handle right there, Miguel Agyei 29. Anywhere else you want to direct the people?
Yeah, just subscribe to my YouTube channel, Milano Miguel. We're almost at 200, so
nice.
I'll be making a video about the Donnarumma situation really soon.
Awesome. And Jerry, you doing any writing? You gonna? I want Jerry to be the first person to tell me who's coaching Inter, whether it's some freaking unpaid intern that they promote from like the women's Primavera team, or if they freaking pay $10 million for Allegri. I want to hear it from Jerry first.
Me.
Don't be wrong.
I'm just proud of myself for committing to never thinking that another manager was going to come to Lazio but Inzaghi. That's all I'm saying. Because last time when his contract was almost up 2 years ago, I thought that every Tom, Dick, and Harry was coming to Lazio. Okay, I bit the transfer market all the time. This time, I stayed committed to my guns, and I said, this guy's not fucking leaving, and I'm happy I stuck with that. A lot of people wanted him out. Fuck you if you wanted him out, because I don't know anybody who can come to Lazio and do a better job, personally, at this point.
You were linked this afternoon to Mazzarri, so yeah, you've done much better keeping Inzaghi.
I almost lost. I wrote about that on my Twitter account. I'd rather just have Vincenzo Italiano come to fucking Lazio.
Yeah.
If he can do miracles with fucking Scrub, imagine what he can do with Savic and Alberto on his midfield. I'm
Best
just saying,
in the world.
That's how I look at it, man. I don't know, whatever. I got a piece coming out about Lukaku. Basically, I was actually just editing before we came on how important he's become for Inter, and I wrote a piece about Inzaghi and Lazio and how they're destined to continue, basically. So, other stuff I got one on Strakosha. Poor guys got shit on at Lazio, but shit happens.
He did.
A season review on Lazio as well. Maybe I'll do one for Inter and how they're fucking blowing up everything now. So,
yeah, man, listen, this is just par for the course. This is what it's like. Mario knows. This is what it's like to support Inter. I mean, friggin' Mourinho wins a treble, and then a half hour later, he's coaching Real Madrid. Conte wins a Scudetto. Half hour later, he's out the door, man. It's just
he's going to Real Madrid too.
Yeah. I think every team goes through it, though, man. Every team goes through their ups and downs. I
mean, look at how many times Zidane has left Real Madrid. So, I'm not saying the situations are the same. Well, why are you laughing? It's true. I mean, this guy,
he'll go back for a third time. He'll go for a third time. Don't worry.
Yeah, he will. I'm sure. You're so right. In 2 years, you'll be like, I love this club. I am back, Real Madrid. Of course, with that guy.
Is he officially out from Real Madrid right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Allegri's
August will be back.
Allegri is supposed to go there. Zidane's supposed to go to Juventus.
Allegri's going to coach 3 teams next year because Allegri's supposed to coach Real Madrid. He's supposed to coach Juventus and Inter. So it's going to be he's going to get paid a ton of money to coach 3 teams.
That's $40 million right there.
Well, actually, no. You know what, Mario? We get him at a discount because if he's coaching 2 other teams, he's making salary other places. We can get him for like $4 million, I think.
We just saved $2 million.
Maybe Pioli leaves Milan and joins Inter.
We've been down that road before. No, we've been down that road before. I'm not good.
Oh man.
We'll end the episode on that note. Huge thanks to Ricky, who had to sign off a little while ago, to Miguel, to Mario, aka Ericsson FC president, and to Jerry. I'm Alex Donno. We'll talk to you guys next time on another episode of the Calcio Connection podcast. Ciao.
I'll lick my balls.